Afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I put in the chat the growth mindset quiz. I'm going to open with a little video. And as you're listening to the video, if you wouldn't mind taking that quiz, I would really appreciate it. Is there anyone that hasn't gotten it yet? It should force a copy so you can make a copy of it. If you could just let me know if you didn't get it, put it in the chat, or you can unmute and just tell me. All right, hopefully everybody has it. All right. Here is our starting video, The Power of Yet.
How does it go? Right.
We'll never get this.
You tried to add, but the numbers came out wrong. You tried to sing, but you didn't know the whole song. You tried to cook, but the food it didn't taste right. You tried to dunk, but you didn't get enough height. You didn't do it right now, but keep trying. You learn how. You just didn't get it yet, but you get it soon. I bet that's the power of the yet. Yes, yes, yes. That's the power of the yet. Yes, 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 yes. That is what you get with the power of the yet. Come on. You tried to ride, but you couldn't make the letter up. You tried to jump, but you didn't make it very far. You tried to drum, but you couldn't find a damn beat. You tried to dance, but you tripped on your own feet. Just breathe, don't lose control. Keep trying and you reach your goal. You just didn't get it yet, but you'll make it soon, I bet. That's the power of the yet. Yes, yes, yes. That's the power of the yet. Yes, 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 yes. Ready, get set with the power of the yet. Break it down now. There's no mountain you can't climb. It just takes a little time. Cause you got what it takes just to learn from your mistakes. Try again, and one day you step up and bend. You try to add and you get the right answer. You sing a song and you be a great dancer. You dunk the ball and you make the right letter. Everything you do it better. This is what you get. Cause this is what you get. Cause this is what you get. With the power of the yet. Yes, yes, yes. That's the power of the yet. Yes, 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 yes. And that is what you get. And that is what you get. Woo! And that is what you get. With the power of the yet.
Who doesn't love Sesame Street, right? Hopefully, I know you guys have all had a long day today. I'm sure you've all been working hard, and I will try to make this as entertaining as I can. I got a couple of videos. We're going to do a little breakout room, and then I have an audio little blurb at the end, and I will try to give you information in between. So I will try to keep you as entertained as possible. Again, the presentation is Growth Mindset, the Power of Yet. One of my favorite topics as an educator, really transformed the way I thought about teaching myself. Hopefully you had a chance to fill out that growth mindset quiz. And if you didn't, that's okay. If you can multitask and listen and work on it at the same time, it'd be awesome, because we're going to spend a few minutes going over it in just a little bit. Okay. So our objectives for today, again, I'm not going to read to you, but the key one, myself out of the way here, is to develop strategies for teaching growth mindset within a specific, respectful, culture of learning, and then practicing modeling feedback. We want to make sure that we're giving you tools that you can use in your toolbox to help your students to create that growth mindset in your classroom. All right, I'll give you a second to just look those over. Okay. All right. So there's another quick little video that really explains what growth mindset is and the brain science behind it.
Determines our intelligence.
One school of thought is that, okay, maybe you're either just born with it, or you either have it or you don't. Some people are smart, some people are less smart, or maybe you can change it. And it turns out there's actually been a lot of research on this in the last few decades. And the answer is pretty clear, that your intelligence can actually be changed. What we've learned, what researchers have taught us, is that our brains are actually a lot like a muscle. We know that you can grow your muscles by going into the gym and doing exercise and straining your muscles. You don't just work on things that are easy for your muscles to do. You do things that your muscles have to struggle with, that your muscles have to strain with, and then they rebuild themselves and they come back stronger. By struggling, it's a signal to your body to devote more resources to that part of the body. And we see that exact same thing with the brain. And here are just a couple of examples of it. This first one, this shows how the human brain develops in early childhood. This is a depiction of the neurons in a brain at birth. And then over as a child develops, it interacts with its environment. It tries things out. It struggles. It struggles to talk, to converse, to interact with folks, to understand the world around it. And as it struggles, you see that by age 6, you have a much deeper and much stronger connectedness between the different neurons. Similarly, I can never say that word. These are depictions of these are the neurons of two different scenarios. This is the nerves of animals that were in unstimulating environments where they're not around other animals. They're in a bear cage. And then this is the brain of an animal that is in a stimulating environment, that is constantly challenged, that is constantly looking at stimulating new things. And so the big takeaway from this whole area of research is you absolutely can change your intelligence, that your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And that the best way to grow it isn't to do things that are easy for you. That might help a little bit. But what really helps your brain is when you struggle with things. And it's actually, research shows that your brain grows the most not when you get a question right, but when you get a question wrong. So at least for me, this is incredibly exciting, because it lets me know that when I'm going through something and I'm facing those times of maybe a little bit of adversity or a little bit of frustration, I can feel good about the fact that those are actually the times that I am growing the most. And this isn't just something that I'm saying, nice words. Research tells us when you get something wrong, when you challenge your brain, when you review why you got it wrong, when you really process that feedback, that's when your brain grows the most. And that if you keep doing that, you're well on your way to having a stronger, more able, and I guess you could say smarter brain.
Any thoughts on the video? Anything maybe you learned? You wouldn't mind putting that in the chat? Maybe something you didn't know before? Nothing. All right. So understanding growth mindset, there are basically two different types of mindsets. One is called the fixed mindset, the belief that your basic qualities cannot change, right? Just like they said in the video, that you are born with a certain level of intelligence and that level of intelligence can't change. I am living proof that that is false. The belief that your basic qualities can be developed with hard work is a growth mindset, right? So as he said in the video, having that productive level of struggle, even if you get it wrong, will help your brain grow. And we need to think and teach our students, regardless of age, that their brain is like a muscle. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put us in breakout rooms for about 5 minutes. And in your group, I want you to think about defining characteristics of fixed versus growth mindset. And then if you get a chance, discuss your mindset quiz. So think about different characteristics, like what is a fixed mindset? What is a growth mindset? How did you do on that quiz? Where are you on that growth mindset continuum? And then were you surprised with the outcome? Okay. So let's see. Sign automatically, recreate. All right. All right. I'll give you about 5 minutes. We'll go into breakout rooms and then be prepared to share out, please. Tanya, able to join the breakout room? Be there. We have two really good discussions going on. Give it about another minute or so.
Is being recorded.
Is everybody back? I heard some really good discussions in both groups. Anybody want to share out? Growth versus fixed mindset. You can put it in the chat or you can unmute.
I'll go. Our group talked about how the students get so fixed on they can't do something that they're not open to growing because they have it in their minds that they can't, and they get stuck on that.
Tiffany, do you teach high school?
I do.
Yeah. A lot of times high school students have it predetermined. I walk in and I've already been told, for the last 9 years of my life that I can't do this, right? Whether it's math or English or science, right? So that's where, at some point, like the buck has to stop with us, and that's what makes us special, right? So having those conversations and creating that atmosphere in your classroom to try to break down some of those barriers. We're going to watch another video in a minute from Dr. Carol Dweck that explains a little bit about that, just understanding how to set it up and what it looks like. Very important. Very important.
Yeah, we also talked about, just trying to encourage them to, make mistakes. And, that's really one of the best ways of learning is by making mistakes, because you're aware and you're conscious of it to, learn from that and move forward.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that. One of the strategies that I've used to try to help promote that is when you do like a warm-up activity, have them do it on a note card. So have them do the problem on one side, have them write their name on the other. So this way, if you put it up on like a camera or you put it up on the screen, that other kids don't know who wrote it. But it's called My Favorite No. So you collect the note cards, you look through the note cards, and you find one where somebody got it wrong, but maybe they were close, or maybe they got it wrong because they got it backwards or whatever it is. But today, I wouldn't embarrass anybody where I would put their name up there, but this is my favorite no. And I would put it up on the board, and then I would have the class explain, okay, why do we get this one wrong? Right? Or why did this person get this one wrong? It's awesome. And you're not embarrassing anybody because it's a safe situation. You're not calling anybody's name out. It's just a problem that someone happened to get wrong, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about how to try to break down some of those barriers. I'm going to give you some strategies too that I've done that have worked pretty well. But thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Okay, we'll go back to it.
I find it amazing that a lot of parents will basically more or less indoctrinating their kid. Well, I couldn't do something. Like I think I came in a little late. I
Yep.
can't do something. So that's the reason why. And they give them that excuse. It just makes me cringe because they're not you.
They are not. They
Yeah.
are not.
But it just makes me, it's one of my educational pet peeves when
Yep.
parents do that.
And you are 100% correct. All that is an excuse. Well, Johnny can't do it. Why? Because I couldn't do it. Well, he's not you, right? And if that came up in like a parent conference or anything like that, I would let the parent know that, listen, with a little bit of extra hard work, and if Johnny's willing to persevere, we're going to get this. And I would let them know, like, hey, we're going to do this together, but don't let him think that just because you weren't good at it, that doesn't mean he doesn't have that same opportunity to be good at it. That's what growth mindset is all about. But you're right.
Absolutely.
But thank you for sharing that. So just some differences in mindset, right? Growth versus fixed. So someone, and think about this in terms of maybe people you work with, right? Teachers, they avoid challenges, right? They're the one that when you go to the professional development, oh, this is going to be so boring. I can't believe they're making me do this, right? I never learned anything at these PDs, right? And then the person that has the growth mindset, they embrace that challenge, right? Hey, I don't know if I can do this, but you know what? I'm going to try, right? And for me, I've been to like a million PDs. Some have been great and some have not. But what I try to do is I'm going to try to take one thing away from that PD that I can put in my toolbox to make it worth it for me to be there. And if I get one thing out of it, to me, it's worth it. Again, a lot of this comes down to attitude a little bit, or past experience tends for some people to predict future. And we want to try to let them know that we're here to help with that. All right. Here's the other video from Dr. Carol Dweck. Dr. Carol Dweck is the resident expert in growth mindset. She is from Stanford University. She's written a whole bunch of books. And she talks about inner city type schools in Chicago and New York, like Harlem, and getting kids to understand what growth mindset is and how it can impact student achievement. There it is.
Today, I want to tell you about the power of yet. I learned in high school in Chicago where students had to pass 84 units to graduate. And if they didn't pass, they got the grade not yet. I thought, isn't that wonderful? Because if you fail, you're nowhere. But if you get the grade not yet, you're on a learning curve. Not yet gave them a path into the future. And not early in my career. To figure out how kids coped with challenge, I gave 10-year-olds some problems that were a little too difficult for them. Some of them reacted in a shockingly positive way. They said things like, I love a challenge, or I was hoping this would be informative. They understood that their abilities could grow through their hard work. They had what I call a growth mindset. But other children, for them, it was tragic, catastrophic. From their more fixed mindset perspective, their core intelligence had been tested and devastated. Instead of the power of yet, they were gripped by the tyranny of now. So what did they do next? In one study, after a failure on a test, They said they'd cheat next time instead of study more. In another study, they found someone who did worse than they did so they could feel better. And in many studies, we found they run from difficulty. Let's look at how that looks in the brain. Mosher and his colleagues measured from the brain as kids encountered errors. Processing the error shows up in red. If you look at the fixed mindset brain on the left, nothing is happening. But if you look at the growth mindset brain on the right, it's on fire with yet. They're processing the error deeply, learning from it, and correcting it. So, how are we raising our kids? Are we raising them for now or for yet? Are they focused on the next A or test score instead of dreaming big, instead of thinking about what they want to be and how they want to contribute to society? And if they are too focused on A's and test scores, are they going to carry this with them into the future? Maybe because many employers are coming to me and saying, we've already created a generation of young workers who can't get through the day without an award. So, what can we do? How can we build that bridge to yet? First, we can praise wisely. Our research shows that when we praise kids for the process they engage in, their hard work, their strategies, their focus, their perseverance, they learn that challenge seeking, they learn that resilience. Praising talent, praising intelligence makes them vulnerable. There are other ways of rewarding yet. We teamed up with game scientists at the University of Washington to create a math game, Brain Points. The typical math game rewards right answers right now, but not brain points. We rewarded process and the learning curve, so effort, strategy, and progress. The Brain Points game created more sustained learning and greater perseverance than the standard game. And just the words yet and not yet after a student has a setback, we're finding creates greater confidence and greater persistence. We also can change students' mindsets directly. In one study, we taught students that every time they pushed out of their comfort zone to learn something really, really hard and they stuck to it, the neurons in their brain could form new, stronger connections. And over time, they could become smarter. Those who learned this lesson showed a sharp increase in their grades. Those who did not showed a decrease. We have done this with thousands of students now across the country with similar results, especially for struggling students. So let's talk about equality. In our country, there are groups of kids who chronically show poor performance, and many people think that's inevitable. But when educators create growth mindset environments steeped in yet, equality can happen. Let me just give you a few small examples. One teacher took her Harlem kindergarten class, many of whom could not hold a pencil for the first month, through daily tantrums. She took them to the 95th percentile on the National Achievement Test. That same teacher took a 4th grade class in the South Bronx, way behind. She took them to the top of New York State on the state math test. That teacher is a Stanford grad, and she's here today.
another Stanford grad, a PhD student, Stephanie Fryberg, now a professor, went back to her Native American reservation in the state of Washington. She transformed the elementary school in terms of a growth mindset. That school had always been at the bottom of the district, at the bottom of the state. Within a year to a year and a half, the kindergartners and first graders were at the top of the district in reading and reading readiness. That district contained affluent sections of Seattle. So the reservation kids outdid the Microsoft kids. And they did it because learning a growth mindset transformed the meaning of effort and difficulty. It used to mean they were dumb, and now it means they had a chance to get smarter. Difficulty just meant not yet. Last year, I got a letter from a 13-year-old boy, yet.
I'm just going to stop there. Any thoughts on that? I think it speaks loudly to our high school students a lot of times where they are predetermined that they can't do it. I'll share two things that stood out to me. One was that we are creating a generation where we can't get through the day without a reward, right? Everybody gets a trophy, right? Personally, that drives me a little nuts. Trophies should be earned, not just given out. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that gamification. She talked about that math game. There is a ton of research out there that if we can make learning more gamified, if you will, students will learn it. There's a lot of research out there on it. I know a lot of our community colleges are offering like programming and gamification classes. It's a big thing out there, and it's kind of an undercurrent in education. So think about that. When you think about a game like Kahoot doesn't reward process. You get the most points if you get it right first, right? That's not really growth mindset. So just think about things like that when you're doing that for your classroom. Yeah, it's fun and it's a good game, but I can get the same right answer as you, but I get less points. Well, that doesn't really make any sense to me, right? So, but that's just me. As you watch that video, think about a favorite teacher you might have had that had, a significant impact on you. Did they have a growth mindset? Think of, 2 or 3 reasons how that person helped you and why they were your favorite teacher. Anybody want to share out? You can put it in the chat if you don't want to unmute.
I'll share. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
I had a science teacher in high school, and well, obviously science, there's the experiment type aspect to it. So it was the trial and error was okay. And a lot of times we would do our write-ups on our experiments, and she would hand it back with notes. And rather than count stuff wrong, she would ask us to redo parts of it or to further explain. And it was like she was doing that not yet. She was like, y'all are getting there, y'all are working on it, but go back to last Thursday's experiment and get with your partner. And I need y'all to redo sections 2 and 3. But the rest look real good. And, I didn't have that in other classes. It was like right or wrong. And so I really appreciated the fact that we got to keep trying until we made ourselves better and better understood the concepts, because she gave us time to process it.
Krista, thank you so much for sharing that. 100%, and just listening to you through that process. Feedback is so important in this process, that creating that growth mindset, that not yet, the power of not yet has to go along with feedback. We've got to give kids a path to get them where we want them to go. And I think that's really important. So understanding learning is a process, and then taking a step back and saying, hey, like you say, I need you to redo this section. this part might be really good. Think about maybe adding A, B, and C to the second part, right? Super important. Thank you so much for sharing. Anybody else? 3, 2, 1. Anyone? No? Oh, we got somebody in the chat. Hold on. It's another awesome. All right. So teaching mindset, if you teach elementary school, one of the great, or even middle school, one of the great books out there for teaching age appropriate growth mindset is called My Fantastic Elastic Brain. And it breaks down how your brain works and the different parts of your brain and how it focuses on your learning. This growth mindset coach book is an awesome book. It will outline basically how to take a classroom and it will coach you through the entire year. In August, it talks about, your practice. In October, it tells you, your brain is like a muscle and it gives you activities for that. In February, it says a goal without a plan is just a wish, and it keeps going. So it's an awesome book. It kind of lays out a roadmap on how to create a growth mindset in your classroom. And not that I'm promoting Dr. Dweck, because I don't get paid for that, but she is the guru. She's written many books. This is just one of them. Dr. Carol Dweck, Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. Where are we? Teaching mindset continued. So one of the things we want to do is show them, don't tell them. Okay. You want to explain things by being explicit. Explain things and show them exactly what you want. Okay. Don't leave things open to interpretation and think that kids are going to read between the lines and just figure it out. Okay. My line to my students is always no secrets, no surprises. You're going to know this is what's on the test. You're going to know this is why it's on the test. There's a question just like this one on the test, right? Or if we're doing a project, what does that project look like? What does an exemplar look like? Here's a rubric, right? These are the things I'm looking for. If you want to get the best grade you can, here's how you're going to do it. And I'm going to give them exactly what they need to know. No surprises, again, no tricks. Read books, show videos that explicitly discuss what growth mindset is, and make sure we set achievable goals and set high expectations for all our students. It's really important. I know the line is always, we truly believe that all students can learn. Well, that's what growth mindset is about. We might learn at different rates. They might have different questions, right? It might take them a little longer, but we want to set that high expectation for all of our students. We want to make sure that they all have a chance to feel that sense of success. Really important. We always want to praise the process, not the person. Okay. Telling kids like they're smart, just like she said, just creates vulnerability, right? And I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Celebrate mistakes. Okay. Plan lessons and activities that encourage collaboration. Like I told the last group, there are 3 big things when it comes to collaboration that you want students to be able to do. You want students to be able to talk about it. You want students to be able to write about it, and you want them to be able to draw about it. If they can do those 3 things, their achievement levels go up significantly because they have an opportunity to process the information. And of course, working with a partner or a small group, they get even more out of that if it's done correctly, because the things that they might not know can be filled in by working together. Use rubrics in the grading system that reward growth. If you are doing, say, like a science lab report, right? You might want to break that down into components where they are turning in components, or you're grading components as they go, instead of turning it in and then say, oh, by the way, not yet, you didn't get it, right? So if we kind of grade it along the way, you're going to know when they go to turn it in at the end that it's already good and that it's done the way that you expected it to be, and gives kids an opportunity to make those changes or corrections if needed. So and I know this is an elementary example, so I apologize in advance if this crew is not elementary focused, but the assessment, is it a rectangle, right? So by definition, a rectangle not only has 4 sides, but it also has 4 right angles. So for number 1, is it a rectangle? Well, the student says, of course it is. It's got 4 sides. No, not really. Number 2, that's an easy one, right? doesn't have 4 sides. So in their mind, didn't meet the first criteria, can't be a rectangle. Number 3, even though it says yes, because it has 4 sides, they left out the key part, which is it also has 4 angles, right? Or 4 right angles, I should say. And then same thing with number 4. Yeah, it has 4 sides, but clearly not 4 angles. So again, the power of not yet. Yeah, it has 4 sides, but what else would make it a rectangle? That's really important. And that would be the feedback I would write back to that student. And here are just some things that, you know, you can say to your students. We want our students to have positive self-images. We want them to think positively about their learning. And we don't want them to get stuck in that, I can't do it, right? I just can't do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. They're good. You can make a difference by contributing to the group. It's okay to try new things, because even if you don't get it this time, it just means you haven't gotten it yet, right? I can do this. And if I can't do it right now, it's okay. I'm going to get it. Again, some students might not be ready to be a leader, but maybe giving them that opportunity to be a leader, you will see amazing things from them. Maybe they're just waiting on that opportunity, right? I'm ready to fail, right? I'm going full speed ahead. And you know what? If I don't make it, that's okay, because it's going to be at full speed. I'm going to work as hard as I can. Ask for help, right? Productive struggle is good. Struggle without production is bad. So if you're stuck, speak up, right? As educators, we are amazing people, but our mind reading skills lack a little bit, right? So it's really hard for us to be able to look at somebody and know what they're thinking. If they have a question or they're just stuck, where are they stuck? What is it that they need help with, right? Practice makes me perfect, right? I'm going to keep grinding it out. Don't give up. And of course, I am a fighter. So again, here's that process. So pay attention to how you praise students, right? So how I praise students. So instead, hey, you're such a good student, or hey, you're really smart, right? Think about this. And again, this might be a little bit middle school, elementary level. You know, hey, I love the way you stayed at your desk. You kept your concentration and kept on working. That sentence is all about process. It's not about how smart the kid is or the student is. It's about them putting forth the effort to stay in their seat, focus, and get the work done. Awesome, right? Avoid feedback that is person-directed, praise actions, not trait. And again, practice with a partner on giving feedback. If you're not sure, okay, if you have like a buddy at school or a mentor person, role play it out, how you would do it, because that's what helps us get better. I wanted to get into a little bit of math mindset as well, because that always seems to be a big sticking point for a lot of students, especially our high school kids. You know, what is mathematics, right? There are kids that will walk into that room and on day one, I can't do this. I've already been told, nope. Really important in terms of mindset, right? That affect the study of math. One, don't label kids. Telling them they're gifted or, oh, you're in the honors class, it's damaging, because then the expectation is they're smart and they should be able to figure it out. And then you give them a challenging problem and they can't, right? Everyone can learn math, and it's in bold print. You can take this to the press. There is no such thing as a math person. Okay, just like we have taught kids the alphabet to teach them how to read, we can teach them computation skills to teach them how to do math. Everybody can do math. Just like you say, some of the parents, I'm sure, will come and say, well, you know, I was never good at math. I'm not a math person. There is no such thing. That is a fictitious thing. Show kids how to persevere. And that, again, productive struggle is good. Math is not about speed. Okay, struggle builds those pathways in our brain. When we think about math, we should allow kids to be creative, make it visual so they can see it depending on the topic that we're dealing with, right? Make the topics relevant. Pick whatever concept you're teaching. How does that relate to the real world? Because how many times have we heard that? Only like a million, right? When am I ever going to use this? Well, some of math you're not going to use, right? But math teaches us process. It teaches us problem solving skills that are invaluable. So even though I might not learn how to factor or use how to factor a quadratic in my everyday life. Understanding how that process works will help me be a better problem solver as I get into adulthood. Have kids write about it. Journaling allows for math thinking. It also will give you a glimpse as the teacher into how they are thinking. Pacing guides are the root of all evil. This came from Dr. Joe Buller, another resident expert on math mindset. She's at Stanford University as well. You teach to the kids in front of you, right? I know that many of us are handcuffed in terms of district level things and that we have to teach certain things, but understand that the district level people are not in your room, that it is exactly that. The pacing guide is a guide on what you should teach based on how many days somebody else says that you should teach it, but you know your kids better than somebody else. And if you have to take an extra day here or there to make sure that they understand it, that to me, that's okay. It takes time to work out rich problems. Give kids time to think, okay? So I don't know about you, but I have like a kid that I don't even get the question on my mouth. His hand is up. Nope, no hands up, 30 seconds. Everybody think about it. Give everybody a chance to process it. The 4-4s activity was a great, I did that at the beginning of the year. The kid, what I do is you put poster paper around the room and you put the numbers 1 through 20 on the paper. And the kids have to create an expression that equals the number on the paper. So if we go to paper number 16, they have to use 4 4s in every expression. So it'd be like 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 would be 16. If I wanted to do 1, I would do 4 plus 4 divided by 4 plus 4 and so on. But if you want to see kids collaborate and get competitive, hey, how'd you get number 12? I couldn't figure out 13. Who got 11? I don't know. Hey, can we use 4 as an exponent? Does that work? Yep. Is it one of the 4 4s? You can. So those questions will come up and you'll see it's a really cool activity. Celebrate the mistakes, right? Create a safe classroom environment. And again, that starts with you from day one, is setting up that environment where it's okay to make mistakes, right? I don't allow kids to, make fun of somebody else, or I can't believe you just said that. No, we're not doing that. Praise the mistake and explain their importance. Assign work that encourages mistakes. Give them a challenge problem, right? Display in progress work, not just the completed products. Okay, so kind of like my favorite no, if say we're doing a lab report in science and someone wrote a great introductory paragraph, whatever it is, right? I might show that as an exemplar, as in progress work, not the entire the lab report, right? To show the students, hey, this is what it looks like, and no, you can't copy it, right? Make mistakes in front of your students and model using them to adjust your next steps. So I will oftentimes, or I shouldn't say often, periodically, I will on purpose make a mistake. So doing a math problem, maybe I forget a negative sign on purpose, and I'll walk away and they'll be like, somebody will say, I think that's not right. I'll be, why isn't it right? I think it's supposed to be, negative 16. Well, why do you think that? And then they'll explain it to me and I'll be like, does anybody else think he's right or she's right? Oh, let me erase that. I think I just made a mistake. It's okay. There's a thing called the mindset kit. And in that mindset kit, it's also at the end as one of my resources, how to celebrate mistakes. It gives you 3 ways to celebrate mistakes in class. It also gives you a kit for parents, students, and educators. Okay, awesome thing. All right, here's one of the things I've done, and this will work in high school as well as elementary school. If you take a test, right, you give the kids an assessment of some kind, and 80% of the kids got a specific question wrong, I have them write it out on a piece of paper, crumple up the piece of paper, spike it on the ground, undo the paper. Okay, guys, let's go back over this one. Okay, why did we make this mistake? I want you to look at your problem, what you did. Let's do it. And I'll do maybe like a think aloud and walk them through that process. And then maybe have a mistakes reflection sheet, analyze or reframe your mistake, right? Intelligence is not to make no mistakes, but quickly to see how to make them good. Okay. Last thing in terms of mindset moment, how do we learn new things? And these are things I would ask of adults. I would also ask them of your students. Why is having a growth mindset valuable in learning? And how does understanding fixed versus growth mindset help us meet our goals? There's one, like, it's like 90 seconds. It's an audio clip. Oprah did a great interview with Tom Brady, and I really felt like this encapsulates what growth mindset is all about.
You do. You recently posted this letter on your Facebook page that I want to just end with. Will you read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to.
Okay.
I know this is sports related, but it drives home the point of growth mindset. You'll hear it. I'm sorry.
If you happen to be very lucky when you're 10 years old, you'll have people in your life who tell you the world is anything you want it to be, and you'll believe them. And those people will never put limits on your abilities. In return, no matter the circumstances, you always try best and you never give up, because that's what you do when you're chasing your dream. If you're lucky, you'll have family, teammates, coaches, mentors, and trainers along the way to help you when you lose faith in yourself, and they'll give you the strength to carry on. If you're lucky, you may get picked last. You may ride the bench, and many times the team may move on without you. And you come to recognize that in return, you're given the chance to earn the greatest edge of all, and one that can never be taken away. Will, heart. So to anyone who feels left out or is afraid of trying their best for fear of failure, you're not alone. The magic you're looking for is in the will of trying and not giving up. The love of your dream is in your heart. One day you'll look back on your life and appreciate the struggle and have nothing but gratitude for everything that happened along the way. To anyone who's struggling early in the morning or late at night in pursuit of your dream, struggles that many will never see, and to any leaders out there who believe in someone who doesn't yet believe in themselves, keep going. Keep going. Because will always finds a way.
You just preached this.
I just thought that was a really, I just really appreciated that in terms of wrapping up what growth mindset is. One last thing, there's a ton of like growth mindset songs. There's a couple of articles in here about how to build an equitable classroom. But when you think about maybe playing music during independent work, play songs that represent growth mindset. The Power of Yet was the one we started with. Shake It Off from Taylor Swift, Hall of Fame, Eye of the Tiger, all good ones. Okay, in terms of creating that growth mindset in your classroom. And then those are my resources. Whew. Let me see. All right. Does anyone have any questions? That's why he is the GOAT. No question about it. I love that guy. You can't see behind me, but I got a Patriots flag with 6-time Super Bowl champ. So yes. The only thing we have left is that there is a survey I think that they need to fill out. If nobody else has any questions. Let's see.
Mitchell, I just need you to make me host. I don't know. I got out again.
I gotcha. Hold on.
Thank you very much. And thank you for a great presentation. And thank you to all of our participants for joining us. I will place the digital transition website link and the exit survey link in the chat. And I hope you all enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much. I'll hang out for a few minutes in case anyone has any questions.